UFC 137, Penn versus Diaz, in my opinion, the main event. In other people's opinion, it's probably going to be GSP content, but I'm not even all excited about that. Either way, TeamTakeover.tv, IronForgeDesign.com. I'm here with my main man, and I would say my producer and editor, because this guy since day one's always been helping me and trying to help me figure out how to correct myself and all my ums and all that stuff. So either way, mr2cam, Mr. Cameron. What's up, Cameron?
What's going on, man?
And Cameron's been wanting to be on this vlog for a while. I had so many people hit me up as of late, and I promise I'll get to each and every one of you as far as being on the vlog. We'll work something out, as always. But I wanted to make sure I got him, Cameron, on here. So if you're doing some type of count, I've done the Philippines, I've done Australia, I've gotten California, I've gotten Boston,
Canada,
twice. I've gotten Las Vegas. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but this is awesome. Now I have Seattle, or actually Washington. Forgive me, Washington.
Yeah, Washington. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not as liberal as most people in Seattle because I'm on the eastern side of Washington. So I'm not really a redneck either, but I'm on the eastern side, and I'm not part of the crazy liberal side of it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Either way, we're here to talk about UFC 137, a card that I'm really excited about. And as of late, the UFC has delivered, even on the cards that I thought were going to suck, the UFC's delivered on those. So I expect this card to be equally as good, if not better, than anything that UFC has done as of late. And it's really hard. The momentum's there, man, with MMA between Dream and the UFC. I mean, you can't really. This is really, really captivating, awesome fights and entertaining fights. So, either way, first fight, Hatsu Hioki making his UFC featherweight debut against George Roop. What do you think, Cameron?
I actually like the way that they matched him up compared to, let's say, I don't know, Gomi. I didn't like the way they brought Gomi in because they brought him against Florian, and it was kind of like, Florian fought for the title 2 times at that time, and so they brought brought him against Florian, who was a very tough challenger, and who was the other guy I was just thinking about? Kid Yamamoto. They brought him against Demetrius Johnson, who just fought for the title. Actually, I'm watching the fight right now against Dominic Cruz. So, in my opinion, this is a good matchmaking move to bring him up slowly, and I think this is what's going to happen. I believe that they're going to have this will be the number one contender fight. Obviously if Roop wins, but that's not going to happen. Okay, Hioki is going to win. It's going to be a second round submission, and he will fight against Aldo. The reason why I say that is because I kind of watched. You notice Dana White usually is kind of quiet about how he makes most of his fights. He wants to kind of keep him kind of quiet. But this fight, when he said, when Ariel Helwani, I think it was, said, is Chad Mendes next? Obviously, he basically kind of just didn't say much. He said, yeah, maybe, I don't know. And that's why I think that Hioki will get the next shot, which in my opinion will be probably the best featherweight fight of all time, and it'll be Aldo versus Hominick for the number one featherweight, pound for pound also, too. So I think it's going to be a great fight, and that fight, I'm sorry, I hate to look past George Roop, but George Roop is going to get submitted in the second round, in my opinion. So
yeah, a lot of people don't know who Hioki is. So it's cool to kind of give you a little info. He's beat Hominick twice. He's beating Ryan Takeshi from Dream, Marlon Sandro, Jeff Curran. This guy is considered by most people to number 2 pound for pound featherweight in the world.
Sorry to cut you off, but Fletch number 1, according to Fletch, number 1. And I don't take much what that glass-jawed Brit thanks,
Mhm.
but but I think Aldo is still number one, but it'll be an interesting fight. But yeah, you're right, number two for sure.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's gonna be an awesome fight. Yeah, if Aldo and Hioki fight together, it's gonna be great. I got Hioki by
Oh, that'd
decision.
be an amazing fight.
So let's
Okay,
hope
cool.
that Japan wins, man. I'm sick and tired of
Oh
seeing
man.
these Japanese guys lose in the UFC. I
Well,
hate it.
in my opinion, like I said, I think it's part of the matchmaking. I mean, look who Gomi has faced. I mean, he's got to go. I mean, Gomi went up against Florian, and he went against Tyson Griffin, who was, I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, he's a 145er now, but he was no slouch, and he knocked him out. Then he goes up against, Nate Diaz, I'm sorry, and gets outboxed by him. You know, it's, in my opinion, the matchmaking was very terrible. The way that they set it up in the first place for not just him, but also like Kid Yamamoto. I didn't like the fact that they put him up against a wrestler like that in Demetrius Johnson. But that's the way it is. I think that they could honestly. I think that this is a great coming out fight. And I hope they move him right up to Aldo because if he does great, it's going to have to be an impressive performance in my opinion. He's going to have to go and finish him. And I don't think I think if he has a boring fight, then I think that it's going to probably go up to Mendez, who will just try to land Aldo for 5 rounds, which nobody wants to see. They want to see Hioki versus Aldo is what they want to see.
Yeah, I can't wait till Hioki beats this guy's ass, and then I get to go. Roop, there it is. You know what I'm saying? Roop, there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I give that credit to Chuck because Chuck was actually the one who was mentioning that. I laughed, and I still laugh.
Oh yeah.
Thinking about the fact that I get to say that. Second fight, Mirko Krokop versus Roy Nelson. I laugh every time I think about Krokop fighting because my friend Richie and I, we always go, Krokop's back, man. Krokop's back. Oh, man.
I can't pick against Krokop, man. I can't do it. I just, as many times he's been knocked out, especially by Brandon Shaw, he was winning that fight, and then all of a sudden, boom, he gets knocked out. And then against that mirror fight was horrible. God, I don't even want to think about that fight. But anyway, I'm not picking against him, But here's the thing, though, is I don't know if he can knock out Roy Nelson. I don't know. That's an interesting thing because Roy Nelson got tagged quite a few times by Junior Dos Santos, who's got some very heavy hands, and didn't go out. Didn't even. I mean, he got down a couple times, but he really didn't go out. I think that Mirko will win by decision. That's the only way I see him winning. Other than that, I'm picking Mirko, but I think that your heart says Mirko, but your brain says probably going to be Roy Nelson and one of those things. I think you said that against the Schaub versus Nog fight. So I'm hoping that he comes back and he does exactly what Nog did against Schaub and knocks him out, or either that or takes him to the decision and ends up winning the fight. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to go against you and pick Nelson. And I hate to say it because, the one thing that sticks out in my mind about Krokop is I always think about guys that get knocked out, and Krokop and Arlovsky, the two guys that I get scared every time they go in the ring. When they get knocked out, it's just a devastating occurrence when that happens. And unfortunately, it's happening. Unfortunately, it's happening way too much for Krokop, and a lot of times we're seeing the Pride legends lose and get beaten up. I mean, Wandy and Krokop. And then you got to think, well, maybe it's those wars that they were in, and maybe it's the age, maybe it's whatever. Here's the thing: the only way I see the shop that Nelson's probably going to grab Krokop and hold him against the cage, do a lot of dirty boxing. And with Nelson's frame, I have no idea how Nelson's looking, what kind of shape he's in, but if he's in regular Roy Nelson shape, which is my weight, basically, my pudgy ass self. He's going to be using his weight to hold Krokop against the cage and whatever. And the way I see it is this: as long as Nelson does not devastatingly, is really, really not conditioned for this fight, and he gasses out very early in this fight, I see Nelson grinding out a decision here, yeah, possibly even a knockout. But I'm gonna give Crow Cop the benefit of the doubt that that he's gonna kind of uh, keep his wits with him and not get KO'd. But Nelson's got a tough chin. He could take a
Yep.
punch, man. He could take a punch, and you know what? The guy's got a huge heart. So even when he's gassed, he comes forward and he tries his best. Whether it looks sloppy or not, or whether he's effective, nonetheless, he's coming forward.
Yep.
So Crow
I
Cop's got
agree.
to, and everybody knows that everybody goes to the Crow Cop's was his right side that they always kind of going over to because they want to
Yep.
avoid the kick. So I hate to say it, and I always go back, but yeah, Crow Cop is really and truly Crow Cop's. This is his last fight for the UFC to finish out his contract. I think Uncle Dana was trying to do this as a favor, trying to give
Oh
him.
yeah.
You might as well let him have his last hurrah or whatever. I mean, against a guy that's beatable, Nelson's a beatable guy. I just don't. I don't like Crow Cop's chances. So hopefully we don't
You
see a
know,
knockout.
Yeah, I don't like this matchup. I would have rather have seen him fight Big Nog, and everyone was calling for it. And it would have been kind of like I don't know, I guess the fight the fans wanted to see because Big Nog and Crook Up, let's be honest, they're not the fighters they were back in Pride. And this would have been, a great fight for them to fight. And, putting up against Nelson, a guy that's got a chin that's made out of, I don't know what the fuck it's made out of, but it's definitely hard because he didn't go down. Arlovsky, I think, was it Arlovsky that stopped him back in Affliction?
Yeah, Arlovsky
Yeah, I
did.
believe it was. Yeah, and I don't know and it may have been a fluke or something. It may have caught him right on the button, but at the same time, he has. I mean, the last two fights, he got kneed in the face by Mir like 8 times, and Junior Dos Santos had some nasty uppercuts against him. So I don't like this matchup for Crow Cop, but at the same time, I hope he wins, and I hope at the end of this fight, no matter what, if he wins, loses, he retires, and that's it. I hope he wins and retires. Kind of like Chris Lytle when he went out. That was cool. That was an awesome way to retire. I hope that Crow Cop goes out the exact same way. So.
Yeah, let's hope for that. Third fight, Czech
Yep.
Congo versus Matt Mitrione. What do you think, buddy?
Oh man, this is an interesting fight. Okay, so Matt Mitrione's training partner, well, one of his good buddies actually, Pat Barry, just lost to Czech Congo in probably one of the best. Oh shit! One of my headphones fell out. One of the best fights. I don't know. One of the best rounds, I would say, and one of the best comebacks of the year, of this decade. I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it. That was insane. But so Matt Mitrione is going up against him, and I try to look at this fight, and this was probably one of the hardest ones of all the fights of the card to try to decide who's going to win, because Matt Mitrione is kind of he's kind of coming along. He's got some very strong hands. He can knock people out. His leg kicks are very telegraphed. If you ever watch him, you can definitely tell when he's throwing a leg kick. So my opinion is Czech Congo is probably going to try to wrestle with him, and we've seen this with Czech Congo before. When Czech Congo is not comfortable on the feet, he will take you down and will try to wrestle with you. And I think it's going to be a decision by Czech Congo. I like Mitrione to win. A lot of people don't like Mitrione because he was on The Ultimate Fighter, but he's actually kind of a funny guy. If you ever watch him, the Mitrione Minute on what is it, the Errol
MMA
Morning Show?
Hour. The MMA Hour.
Yeah. He's got some funny stuff, man. Especially when he bashes on Tito Ortiz and a bunch of other people. And he's got some funny shit. And he seems like a pretty down to earth guy. On the show, on the Ultimate Fighter show, they kind of made him out to be kind of like a weirdo. He kind of seemed like a head case, but in reality, I don't think that that's the case. Anyway, I'm picking Czech Congo by decision, and I think he'll probably land pretty decision. I hope that he ends up losing, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
I'm gonna go Meathead on this. I think Meathead's gonna Matt Mitrione's gonna. I don't know how he's gonna win. Come to think about it, it could go Either way, you know what? I'm going to give Czech Congo a benefit of the doubt. I think Mitrione's going to win by decision. I think Mitrione's crazy to stand up with this guy because Congo's got lethal hands. And I think Mitrione's going to try to take him down and wrestle out and grind out a decision. Yeah, I agree with you. Mitrione's actually a hilarious guy. You know, controversy creates cash, and you know, of course, a
Yeah.
lot of what he said on the Ultimate Fighter and all that stuff was obviously all PR stuff in order to, I guess, get more people interested in who he was,
I
and he did a
think,
great job in it. You know,
yeah.
but
I think they edited that. For
yeah, they
certain.
did.
I mean, I think
They
they
edited it
edited
a
it.
lot, like you
Exactly.
said.
Yeah.
So I mean, they edited it a lot just to make people look certain ways, create bad guys, good guys, crazy guys,
Yep.
whatever.
Crazy guys. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Mitrione by decision. Congo's
Okay.
generally considered in the heavyweight division the kind of like the gatekeeper. So do I think
You know,
Mitrione's got the stuff to become a heavyweight champion? No, but I think Mitrione will eventually become the gatekeeper. Gatekeeper. So.
yeah, yeah. You know, and I hope you're right because I honestly like Mitrione a lot more. I mean, Congo seems like a pretty cool guy. I was watching a video blog with Rampage, and they were kind of no, I remember what it was. It was an Ariel Helwani interview with Rampage, and then Czech Congo comes in, and I've seen a lot of Czech Congo. He seems like a really cool guy and everything, but at the same time, he's kind of a dirty fighter, man. How many times did he knee people in the balls? And I mean, Travis Brown, he kneed him in the balls like 8 times or something like that in that fight. I hope Mitrione wins, but I just don't see it happening. Mitrione kind of got thrown around by Kimbo at 113, I think it was, and I think that Congo's wrestling. I think he showed it at one fight that he can wrestle. He just chooses to stand up because he's got great stand-up, in my opinion. We'll see. It'll be an interesting fight. I think this is kind of a toss-up either way.
Yeah, fourth fight, in my opinion, the main event, although the UFC considers it the co-main event. BJ Penn, one of the greatest fighters of all time, versus Nick Diaz. How do you see this going?
God, this fight has been troubling me for a long time because, BJ was going to fight, Carlos Condit. And, to tell the truth, I like both Carlos Condit and BJ Penn, but I like Nick Diaz so much. It's very hard. And there was a thread on Team Takeover about how will BJ take Nick Diaz down, because to be honest, that's Nick Diaz's biggest weakness is his takedown defense. He's got great submissions off his back, but if you've got a good posture and you know how to defend the submissions, then you're okay. And I kind of kept quiet because I didn't want to say anything, but in my opinion, it's kind of a 50-50. I think that I think BJ is going to lose this fight because I love BJ. I love BJ. Don't get me wrong. I love BJ. He's a great fighter, but I think that what's going to happen is he's going to get overwhelmed with the striking of Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz has that, like I said, the awkward striking that comes from all different angles, and the biggest thing that I think is going to give BJ problems is the same thing that Frankie Edgar gave him problems with. Frankie Edgar came from all different angles, and he was, he's a lot faster, but at the same time, I think it's going to apply in the same sense, and I believe this will be a boxing match. I don't think he's going to be any takedowns. I think that it's going to end up, well, like I said, 50-50 for takedowns, but I believe that BJ will box with Nick Diaz, the way it sounds, and it's going to end up going into a unanimous decision to Nick Diaz.
Wherever this fight goes, whether it's on the mat, whether it's against a cage, whether it's on the feet, it's going to be an exciting fight. Both guys.
Oh, yeah. No. Fight of the year.
I have chills just thinking about it. Both guys have amazing jiu-jitsu. If BJ Penn ends up getting on top, you know that Nick Diaz is going to be busy on his back.
Yep.
You know that it's the reverse. Nick Diaz gets on top, BJ is going to be working as well. Intriguing about the striking, like you said. The fact that both guys, Penn's more of a very, very skilled boxer, whereas Diaz has more of a precision type of boxing comes at different angles. Um, Here's where I think that both guys are not evenly matched. Penn always has that questionable gas tank. Diaz
Yep.
doesn't. Diaz has cardio for days. The guy's a triathlete. So I see this. First off, I see Penn winning the beginning rounds. I see as the fight goes down, I would love to see a 5-round fight between these guys. But
Oh yeah.
as I see the fight progressing, I see Diaz winning this fight, and
Yep.
I don't think he's going to knock out Penn. But what I do see is, and I don't see him submitting him. That's I think there was a statistic how people can't pass Penn's guard, um, but what I do see is Diaz winning by decision. Um, what a great fight! What a
Oh,
great fight!
it's gonna be probably easily the fight. Well, and I hate to say this because every time I try to hype up a fight, how good it's gonna be, it ends up sucking. But I think it will be probably the best fight of the card, in my opinion. I mean, it's the best on paper, easily. I mean, you got two guys that are just. I mean, they don't. Okay, for example, you think about BJ Penn. If he does take him down, he's going for the finish. He's not going to just sit there and lay on him like John Fish would do. He's not. He immediately moves to mount, and he's going to go try it for the in his rear naked choke. That's BJ Penn's really. That's his number one weapon. I mean, I haven't seen that many other submissions. He tried to get Matt Hughes with the triangle a long time ago and ended up breaking a rib, I think. But he immediately goes for the finish, and both guys are like that. They love to go for the finish. So that's why this fight will be fight of the year or fight of the night. And fight of the night, maybe fight of the year. It's hard to say, but it's going to be a great fight either way. I don't care, who wins because I love both fighters.
Yeah. And yeah, again, I expect to see Diaz win this, and hopefully we'll fight the winner of St. Pierre Condit. Where let's talk about this fight. I have George St. Pierre winning this by decision. I think that I don't think Condit has a chance. I don't think Condit has a chance. I mean, don't get me wrong, Condit. I like Condit. I just don't see him winning this fight. You know that Saint Pierre does not care. Well, number one thing, he doesn't care. I think he's such an intelligent fighter that he plays to people's weaknesses, and we definitely know that coming into this fight, Saint Pierre is going to be wanting to take this on the mat because. I don't see Condit actually winning this fight aside for a knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree in a sense, but I actually say more like I know I agree that the GSP is going to win by decision, but I think that it's going to be if Condit wins, it'll be by submission. The reason why everyone says knockout, and I kind of went back and looked at some of the older GSP fights, and especially the one where he got TKO'd or knocked out by Matt Serra, you got to watch. He got hit in the back of the head quite a few times, and trust me, I hate George St. Pierre with a passion. I cannot stand George St. Pierre. But he got hit in the back of the head quite a few times, not very many times in the chin, so it's kind of like, okay, so how do we know how good his chin is? Second of all, everyone's trying to say that the Matt Serra fight was what changed him. No, that didn't change him. He has always been like that. BJ Penn lit him up in the first fight, and George St. Pierre went immediately to wrestling, took him down, did what he could because he knew that he was, 15 pounds bigger than BJ. He says, I'll just take him down. I'm a better wrestler, and I'll just, land some shots, and I'll win the fight. With that being said, I think that Carlos is probably a better shot of submitting him, but at the same time, that's very, very unlikely. I think that this is going to go to a decision, and it's going to be, again, George St. Pierre winning by fucking boringness. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and back in the day, I used to like GSP. Until as of late, there's just no killer instinct in him. It's just that's what there's no killer instinct.
He tried against Jake Shields so hard. Did you see that looping overhand right he was throwing that against Jake Shields? It was like okay, at least he's trying. But God, what the fuck was that? What kind of punch do you? I mean, seriously, that looks like a backyard or I don't know, backyard brawl fight is what it looked like when he was throwing that overhand right. I mean, that was the most untechnical shot I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, he thinks he's going to knock out, I mean, and the reason why he did it is because he saw that Dan Henderson hit him with a shot almost, similar to it, but he doesn't have the power Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, Dan Henderson can kill, can basically knock anybody out with that right hand. And George St. Pierre just isn't that guy. George St. Pierre needs to, utilize more kicks. The way he kind of, TKO Matt Hughes, elbows were great on the ground, but he doesn't do that. He seems to think that, okay, well, I don't believe that I believe that he's fighting safe, but at the same time, I think that he is trying at the same time to knock the person out or finish them in a way. But it just, it happens to just not come. And like I said, I can't stand George St. Pierre. I've never liked him. Even the minute I didn't like him was after the first BJ Penn fight. I watched that fight and I was like, wow, what the fuck? I was like, I just thought it was bullshit. After that, I just completely hated him. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I just can't stand the guy. So.
Yeah, and so that's it pretty much. We ran down the card. Just I think it's going to be a great night of fights. Even though I think we have like 1, 2, 3 decisions that we hit. Well, actually 4 that I can remember off the top of my head that I'm predicting. 5 actually. Come to think about it, I don't think we fit. We decided I didn't personally think that there was going to be a decision in this fight. There's going to be
it's MMA though. Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything can happen.
What do I know? Basically.
Yeah, exactly. We predicted the decisions, but at the same time, though, it's a great. The decisions could be. Some of the best fights in history have been decision fights. Have gone. I mean, Leonard Garcia versus Korean Zombie, the first fight. That was an amazing fight and went 3 rounds. I mean, so it doesn't mean that the card's not going to be awesome. Yeah. So.
And on paper, just on paper, these fights anybody here could be knocked out. When you look at the fight, aside
exactly.
from maybe the Hioki Roop fight, there might not be a knockout. But you have Crow Cop and Nelson, both guys that have power. Congo and Mitrione, both guys have power. Penn and Diaz, both guys have knockout power. And St. Pierre and Condit, St. Pierre's got probably one of the better jabs in MMA. And Condit's got, of course, knockout power as well. So we may see a finish. I don't think so, but we may sure as hell see a finish.
To be honest with you, the only person, for Penn, has fought a lot of great fighters, and like I said, I'm a big BJ Penn fan. But at the same time, I think the only person that can finish him in 3 rounds is probably Nick Diaz. Those body shots, he throws some nasty hands with those body shots. If there is a person that can finish him, it'll be Nick Diaz. If he can't, then I don't see Penn, end up getting finished by in a 3-round fight. Unless something weird happens, like in the Matt Hughes fight, the second Matt Hughes fight where he broke his rib trying to secure the triangle. So.
Yep. We're done, Cameron. I had a lot of fun.
All right, man.
We will do this again.
Yeah, me too.
You want to plug anything or?
TeamTakeover.tv. You guys need to get on there and start watching some of these video logs. They're pretty good. I've been kind of scouring the forums, trying to put my input on there. But more people need to get on this board, and I'll make sure to try to give some more people some info on the website. So.
And you have a pure example here of the fact that anybody who wants to be on this vlog could definitely be on here. Whether you see me on ironforgesiron.com or teamtakeover.tv, it's just awesome. I love to have new people here and talk to people and meet new people. So nonetheless, thank you for watching. Thank you, Cameron, for getting on here. We will do this again.
No problem, man.
Subscribe, tweet, feedback. Let me know anything that I could do to make this vlog better, or just let me know what's going on, and I will try my best to improve the vlog, because nothing's perfect. But nonetheless, thank you very much. So long. Hopefully we see. It's going to be a great night of fights. Peace out, guys.
Oh yeah, it will be. All right, man.